The destruction of thousands of police special branch files and the closure of the branch has prompted much debate over the future of remaining files. Writs issued against the branch by people whose files remain under lock and key emphasise the need for a Fitzgerald-style inquiry into the history and operations of the branch, according to Civil Liberties Council President Stephen Keim.
An independent person should be appointed to inquire into the special branch and to prepare a report for the Parliament. This person could be a QC and should probably have powers under the Commission of Inquiry Act.
Mr Keim says although the inquiry should be heard privately, public submission should be welcome. He said the inquiry would prevent past abuses occurring again. He also says the inquiry should extend to special branch files held in other areas of the public service. The community group Citizens for Democracy is critical of a decision by Police Minister Terry McEnroe to have special branch matters investigated by the Criminal Justice Commission.
The CJC was set up to revamp, restructure the police force in line with the Fitzgerald recommendations. Its role was never to vet special branch files or to make decisions in relation to special branch files.
There is also concern over Sir Max Bingham's close association with destruction of files. But Mr McEnroe says Sir Max remains independent and the Criminal Justice Commission is already conducting an inquiry into the special branch files. Mr McEnroe expects to receive a detailed report on the remaining 400 files next week.
Thousands of Queenslanders spied on by the Special Branch sees her file for the first time. Jerry Bellino in court, and we go to the West Coast where a Premier is fighting but not winning. And our feature report, the remarkable Dave Stewart story. Intimidating reputation. Take part in a peaceful demonstration, people said, and you were sure to be on file. Some journalists said you could get onto the file simply by writing a letter to the editor. Now it seems those rumours have been confirmed. And although the branch has been disbanded by the Goss Labor government, the suspicions remain. Most of the records were destroyed just before last year's state election, and only a few were saved when some people took out writs to prevent their files being shredded. Nobody's really sure how much information's been deleted from the remaining files. Today, under the supervision of Queensland's new Criminal Justice Commission, a third Queenslander saw her special branch file. On this occasion, there was no legal action involved, but more than 100 other people have gone to court to get access to their records. Peter Greer reports.
A Right to March demonstration in Brisbane 12 years ago. In a show of strength, police arrested hundreds as protest followed protest. You couldn't always see them, but Special Branch police were usually here. The demonstrators knew it, and so did the reporters. After years of conservative rule, surveillance by secret police had become a way of life in the Sunshine State. Germaine Blair-Quigg walked a different road from all that. She wrote letters to the editor, everything from bringing back the death penalty to fluoridation and sex education in schools. Minor stuff really, but enough to earn her a special branch file here at police headquarters. Today, with her daughter Una and a civil rights campaigner, Chris Griffith, she's about to do something she could not have done just a few months ago. Look at her file. But what did she ever do that could be seen as a threat to Queensland?
Nothing at all. I'm not a threat to Queensland. But what I did do was maintain that in a democracy, which I thought this was, that I had the right to the freedom of speech. So what I did, without any backing, I stood up and said what I thought, and that apparently annoyed people.
Well, I think the inspections achieve putting people's minds at rest, because keeping files induces paranoia. Like, if anything is kept from a person, you're bound to have your own ideas as to what exactly is going to be kept. And I think that's done a lot of damage over the years and made people fairly frightened.
What have you been told will happen when you get in there? What will the procedure be?
Simply that I'll be shown my file. And I will be allowed to photocopy my file. From what I gather from my lawyer, I won't be alone in the room. I'll have a policeman standing on guard and also a gentleman from the CJC will sit opposite me whilst I peruse this file.
Do you mind if we come with you?
Not at all, if you could come, but I doubt if you'd be allowed to be there. We're not that democratic.
Cameras aren't allowed in police headquarters, and especially not in the Special Branch. Still, under a new Labor government that's actually done away with the branch, you never know your luck.
Is it possible for us to go out and perform the inspection of the file? No, I think you'd have to see the Commissioner of Police about that.
And then we tried again.
Inspect her Special Branch file. Is it possible for us to go up there and film it?
And then he tried. First, the Special Branch.
I just spoke to
Next, the Commissioner's office.
Staff at the Commissioner's office, and he said, if you just
The answer, as always, was no. Germaine Blair-Quigg was inside for an hour and a quarter. She came out with little to report, except her own annoyance. What sorts of things are in there? Newspaper clippings?
Yes. Of my letters to the editor, only some.
Is that all?
Yep.
So where do you go from here?
Where do I go from here? Well, I've got a copy of it that I can keep for my grandchildren and for posterity. Just show them what Queensland did at a certain time in its history. I think it's an absolute disgrace.
Una, what did you make of what you saw today?
I think it's quite disgusting that because my mother spoke out about issues that she felt strongly about in Queensland or Australia, that she has to have some sort of special file kept on her. There's no need for it at all. I don't think it's disgusting.
So far, 3 people have seen their Special Branch files. What they've found shows how closely outspoken and, it would appear, innocent individuals were watched by Queensland's secret police.